Thank you so much, everyone, again, for being here. My name is Anika Tanay. I'm the Director of Social Responsibility and Inclusion at West Staff, and happy to be co-piloting this information session with my colleague, Josh Ellis, who will come on in a little bit. But I'm going to kick us off while he keeps letting folks in. First, I do want to acknowledge the land. So I am zooming in from the land of the Nacotchunk in Piscataway in otherwise known as Arlington, Virginia area. And for folks who would like to share in the chat, we'd love to know where you're zooming in from. We'd love to know the land that you're on. If you are aware of that, please share in the chat. This session is scheduled to end in 55 minutes or a little bit less. So we want to make sure that we keep on track. And I want to quickly go over some Zoom norms. Please keep your microphone muted when not speaking. Please feel free to rename yourself by putting your first and last name if you don't have it. Sometimes people have they have initials or different things. And if you want to put your state or jurisdiction's acronym, that would be helpful to know who's in the room. And then there's some directions on how we do that. To ask questions or make comments, please use the raise hand function. You can write your question in the chat. The chat belongs to you. Let's open it up for robust sharing. So please, I see you're already putting some stuff, and I see there's a Q&A in there as well. So we'll be monitoring the chat. And you can use your reactions, you can use your raise hand function. We do have live transcripts that are available for folks who might want to make use of them. So you click on the More button with the 3 dots at the bottom of your screen, and then click Captions, and they should be available to you. Before I go too far, we are recording this session, and so we want to hit record now. If we haven't already. Oh, we're already recording. Perfect. So I will move on to the shared agreements. I'm not going to go through each of them too in depth, but these are the agreements that we utilize as West Staff, and in terms of how we organize our meetings. And so I want to invite you into these agreements as well in terms of listening actively, speaking from our own experience, focusing on ideas and asking questions, participating to the fullest of our ability. That's just being present, what that looks like for you. Sharing your own story and experience, being open to learning and understanding, being aware of body language. I'll be turning to the side because I've got my big screen over here. So pardon me for that. We'll lean into discomfort. We'll appreciate and acknowledge what folks have to bring to the table. We'll hold each other accountable. At the same time, we will call in and not call out. And we seek to use correct pronoun use. And so there's an example there of what we mean by that and how you can help and support with that. All right, so our agenda and purpose. So tonight, our purpose is to make sure that applicants are set up to successfully complete the application. And so you've heard me saying LoCF probably a couple of times. That's our acronym for the National Leaders of Color Fellowship Program. And so what we want to do is give you an overview of the program. We want to walk through the application process and the system that we use. And then we want to answer any questions that you may have. And then we'll talk about some next steps. I want to encourage you to please populate the chat with questions that you have while we're going through, just so that we can, again, monitor them. And when we get to the Q&A, we'll be able to answer them. So please feel free to use the chat from now onward to ask questions. And then polls and feedback survey, I want to give you this right out the gate. So what I need to do, first of all, I'm going to copy the link in the chat. But if you wanted to use your phone and grab the QR code, you could do that as well. And we will keep refreshing and putting this in the chat. So there's just a couple of polls in there. And I wonder, there's like 2 or 3 polls, and then there's a feedback form that we really need you to complete at the end. But let's just test this out. And if you would be so kind to start with the first question that is on that survey. And I'm going to stop sharing screen so that I can make sure that you're getting some answers in. And I believe the first question is around, I have applied for this program before. And so if you know, thanks, I see answers starting to come in. And I will share as well so that everybody knows what's happening. But please continue to answer that first question. All right. So far we have, there's a couple of people who applied last year, and I've seen some of the applications. I've seen some folks who have applied, and I put that not sure just because I know we're out here, we apply for a lot of things. And so sometimes we forget what we applied for. So that's why I put that not sure. So if you just came in the room, someone could copy that link to this survey again, because folks who just came in won't see the survey, and answer that. And then if you haven't already, if you want to go to the next question, I am familiar with the U.S. Regional Arts Organization in my region. So this is looking good. You all are filling it out. Many people so far are familiar, but that's starting to change a little bit, and some are not sure. And so that's great. We will be touching on some of that tonight. And because I see my colleague Joy, while we are thinking about whether or not we're familiar with U.S. regional arts organizations, in a little bit, Joy, I'm just going to ask you to give a little capsule of what those are, but not just yet. And then we're starting to do the third one. I just want 1 or 3 words that describe your profession or job title, whatever makes sense for you. And so you all are filling those out. And I'm sure many of us are familiar with word cloud, so we know the biggest word and the biggest pitch font is the one that reflects what most people are writing. So it looks like executive director is coming through strongly. So thanks for that. And again, if you've just come in, and I know you're still adding, it's still going to update. We can look at this at the end as well, but please keep filling it in. I just want to go back and see how we're doing over here. Familiarity with the U.S. regional. Okay, so about 13, maybe don't know. So we'll come back to that in a few minutes. And then the last question is going to be for the end. You've already started filling it out, but we want to make sure that we are effective in this session. So please make sure that by the end of the session, you have filled that out. Thank you so much for your participation. And I'm going to go back to the slide deck. All right, give me 1 second. Okay. Okay. We've done that, and you're continuing to do those polls and survey. Want to just jump into some timelines. I think they are reflected on the website, but the applications are open now. And we've started to see some of you all have been completing them. The applications close on October 16th. And then we will be reviewing the applications by region. So for example, if you are in the South Arts region, then you will be, like if you're in Florida, you will be reviewed by South Arts, right? South Arts is the U.S. Regional Arts Organization that is in your region. And so all of those applications will go to that region. That region has set up application reviewers to look at all the applications and score them. They will not be meeting in a panel. We don't want to overanalyze what you've said, but we do want to get a sense of scoring. And then each region will be looking at location and states and jurisdictions and making sure that there's a good spread. We are looking at one fellow per state or region. So that's the work that each region will do. Selected fellows will be notified between November 14th and 17th. And we really need you all to be mindful when you're more than likely going to get an email that says, we need you to respond in 48 hours. We need you to respond by Monday, November 20th, so that if you're not available, and that's fine if you're not, each region is providing alternates in case there's anyone who's selected that is no longer available. Okay. All right. So I think I am handing over to Josh now. So I will stop sharing and ask Josh to get ready to introduce himself. But just before that, Joy Young is a faculty member in our program, and I think that slide, yes, I skipped that slide. I'm so sorry. Let me do this quickly, and then you're gonna come. I promise, Joy, you're gonna come.
Okay.
The LoCF team. So we are the folks behind the scenes. Some of us are behind the scenes and some of us are in front of the scenes. So at West Staff, if you've read the website, this is a program that we have been running in our region for many, many years. And last year we piloted the program with the other U.S. regional arts organizations. And so that has become this national program. And so behind the scenes, it's me and Josh and Marcelina who are doing all the logistics and administration for the program. We are also obviously a regional, and so we support the alumni of this program and similar programs that we've had. And then there's the faculty of the program, and I've just put their names and their faces on the screen. Again, you can go to the website. There's a section, which I'm sure Josh may show you later, called Meet the Team. You'll be able to see our bios as staff, as well as all the faculty. And so starting at the bottom right, you've got the order there, but I'm just gonna say Margie Reese is one of our faculty members, Salvador Acevedo, David Holland, who also is the Deputy Director of West Staff, Madalena Salazar, who also happens to be an alumni of earlier iterations of this program. And then Joy Young is also a faculty member and is the Vice President of Programs at South Arts. And so I'm going to ask Joy to just give us a quick rundown, just a few sentences about what a U.S. regional arts organization is. Thanks, Joy.
Thank you, Anika, and welcome to all of you. Joy Young, I use she, her pronouns, and I am today in Columbia, South Carolina. So my Soda City Pete, hey there, Mike. Having said that, listen, the REOs are a collective of arts organizations that work collaboratively across the entire country. We work in partnership with the National Endowment for the Arts, as well as foundations across the country. We are pleased to partner with WESTAF in the Leaders of Color Fellowship. I'm placing in the chat a link to the website for the U.S. Regional Arts Organizations, so you can learn more about identifying where you are located among the regions. If you're in the South Arts region, that means you would be in North Carolina or down to Florida, over to Louisiana, and up to Kentucky. Each regional has a set number of states or a set territory. So I would urge you to take a look at that website and use that link to identify your region in case you have any questions about, well, where would I apply and what would I do? So thank you for this moment. I look forward to continuing working with those of you who are selected. And for those of you who aren't, please make sure you reach out to your REO, your regional arts organization, and find other ways to connect. So with that, I hand it back over to you, Anika.
Thanks, Joy. And I will hand over to Josh.
Thanks, Anika. Like Anika said, I'm Josh. I'm the Grants and Inclusion Manager at WESTAT. And so me, along with Marcelina, the coordinator, we're going to be helping administer the application process. So when you send us a question, we'll most likely be answering. And so I'm just going to share my screen and get us started. So this is going to be the Arts Lead page, the landing page for the Leaders of Color Network, the program, National Leaders of Color Fellowship Program. And so on this page, it's going to have all the information about the program, including the dates, eligibility, and a little bit of history. And so I urge everyone, if they haven't already, to just go through this page, toggle through the drop downs, verify your eligibility, and also review the selection process as well. You're going to see those similar dates as the application opens, it closes. And please note that these times are in Mountain Time. And just looking at the program date structure as well, speaking of it being in Mountain Time, there's a little helpful chart here. So for example, the application closes on October 16th, 11:59 at Mountain Time. I'm in Eastern Time, I'm in DC, so that means it's actually going to close the next day, 2 hours later in my time. So just be mindful of those times. But yes, this is going to be the landing website. And so when you're ready to apply, you're going to click here. Let's apply now. And this is going to lead to the WESTAF grant site. This is where the application lives. And so this link here is just going to lead you back to that Arts Lead website that we just left from. But to apply, you're going to click here. If you don't have an account already with WESTAF grants, you're just going to click here, and I'll briefly just click that and go to that. And so it's a pretty simple, straightforward application process for this to make a new account. You're going to click individual and then fill it out as it asks. And once you do that, it's just going to log you right back in to the, oops, excuse me. Let me just misconnected, sorry. There we go. And so this is going to be the login page. You're going to insert your username and password. Mine is already preloaded. And once you type in your username and password, it's going to take you to this page. And so just to do a little review from that, this is going to be the page. When you're ready to apply, click here, and it's going to take you to the same exact page right here. And so as you can see, it's going to have the title of the program, as well as the description, program message, all of it is review. And some things to note is the dates and deadlines. So a lot of the times you're just going to see reminders of these dates and deadlines. And so that's exactly what this is. This is showing that the application's open and when the application is due. And so that's what it's going to do. For this actions, this is going to show what stage of the application you're going to be in. And so it's going to show what stage of the application you need to action. So for example, I've already started the application just to test to see if it's working. So it's showing edit. However, if you haven't started it yet, it's going to say start. And so for this side, for the view PDF, this is just going to show what your application looks like and what stages are that you're at. So if I click it, it's going to be empty because I haven't been filling it out. However, once you fill it out, then it's going to show all your answers there. And so if I just go in and edit, this is what it's going to look like once you enter the application. Again, this is just leading you back to that original program web page so that you can reference that when you're filling this out. This reminder, please save your work button at the bottom of the page often because it does not automatically save your work. So if you drop off of Wi-Fi like I just did to myself, or if you just want to take a break and come back, you will have to scroll down and make sure you're clicking the save work button. Then you can go out and come back in as needed, and then it's going to have that edit button like it did on my site. And again, this is what the application is looking like, just questions, applicant name, and also your organization discipline. This discipline was taken from the National Standards for Arts Information Exchange. If anybody's wondering, they can click this link and it will show the PDF of how we've broken these disciplines down. There is a method to it a little bit. And if you don't fall into any of these categories, you do have the option to describe. And so if you click that, you can just enter that information right there. Also, again, asking about your identity and how you identify. If you choose not to, or if you prefer to self-describe, again, you have that option to self-describe or further describe your identity there below. Same thing with your gender identities, as well as your sexuality. So this is just a brief look on what the application looks like. You have your drop downs for your state and jurisdiction as well. You just drop down and click it. And then here we just have providing a brief biography through a lens of how this program aligns with your present and future goals. As you can see, it's 200 words or less. We have a lot of applicants that typically come in. There is a character count of 1,500. However, those first 200 words or less are the ones that are going to be actually monitored upon. So please keep that in mind, 200 words or less. This character count is encouraging, however, 200 words or less, please. And something we want to just hone in on is that this program, it's aimed as well to people who have had limited professional development opportunities. We don't want that to be a deterrent. So we've put this disclaimer in to say that maybe if you haven't had a lot of professional development opportunities in the past, that you can still apply. Please put your best foot forward and to not let that deter you from applying to this program. Again, another prompt question, and then be sure to save your work from there. This next page is a personal reflection. If I'm going too fast, please let me know in the chat as well. We're monitoring questions and we're going to address those all at the end as well. So this next page is about the personal reflection. And what you're going to do is you're going to click this link. And it's going to take you to the prompt page. And so you're going to just watch this short video and then give a written response based on this prompt. As an arts administrator or advocate, describe what you believe your role to be in addressing cultural inequality. And so the content for that, again, is going to be in this video. Again, just wanted to hone in on, it says 300 words. If you are doing a video response, please do not exceed it of 2 minutes. And the written response can be put here, and you can upload your file right here as well. If you do have a link, that can also go here. And just want to say this, that the link should not be password protected. And also, if the link is longer than 100 characters, please use a URL shortener.
I have a question.
I'm sorry, yeah.
I went through the application earlier today, and with that particular question, the 300 word limit and the 500 character equivalent that's given there is not accurate. Even 250 words are likely more than the 500 character limit. So what shall we do? We just stick with the 300 words and ignore the 500 character limit, which is far less, or what?
I'll go in and double check that. To my knowledge, when this
Yeah,
was
I
set,
did the word count. I did the word counts and I compared it with the character counts in my word processor.
okay,
And
well, that's definitely something. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. I did not know that it was doing that. That's something that we can definitely address. I can go in myself and up the character count to address for like some of the spacings, commas, periods, and just punctuation marks that I'm sure is taking up the character count. But thank you for bringing that up. So we can go in and address that, and I can do that by the end of the day.
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you don't need to put a character count if you have a word count. You know, the word count is sufficient. So,
That is true, and that's just what we're working with this platform as well, is that it gives us character count instead of the word count. So we're just working with that as well.
okay, thank you.
But thank you again. And so after that, you're going to save your work once more and click next. And also while you're doing this, just to see what it looks like, you can view PDF. And again, it's going to bring you to what that's going to look like. Since I haven't filled out anything, it's empty, but this is what that looks like. And then you have the submission page. Since I haven't filled anything out, it's empty. It's saying I haven't met all the requirements because I haven't filled anything out. But hopefully you have everything filled out on here, and then it's going to give you an option to submit. And now, once you, before submitting though, please be sure to proofread. We understand that this is not like a writing symposium scholarship. We're not looking for the next poet laureate, but it's just, you want to ensure that you're conveying and telling your story as well as you're able to, for the panelists, the reviewers to properly receive the information you want to tell them. And so that PDF tool is a really good tool to make sure that you're doing exactly so. And so once you submit, you're going to get a notification from this grant site that says congratulations, or not congratulations, excuse me, it's going to say, thank you, we've received this application. And then it's also going to link you back to next steps for the program. And again, as it said, applicants should expect to hear back by Friday, November 17th. And as Anika said, we might send an email out that says, hey, we need your response by November 20th. If we're looking for more people or if we're looking for alternatives to that. And so that being said, I'm going to stop sharing for a bit and see if anybody has any questions about that content that we just went over.
Josh, I'm just seeing in the chat that people are having the same problem with the character count. So just to let everybody know that we are going to look into that.
Gotcha. Thank you. And I just opened the chat and saw that. Yeah, so that's something we can absolutely address and fix by the end of the day. And thank you again for bringing that up. If you ever have any issues like this or just similar issues, feel free to reach out to, I'm going to type it in the chat, Weststaff, grants@weststaff.org. Again, myself and Marcelina are going to be monitoring that email and we'll address your questions. Yes, Mike.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for the space. I appreciate y'all doing this and going through everything. I was gonna ask when you just for more clarity, when y'all say you're looking for people who are kind of mid-career in their arts, like what was the year range you're looking for as far as how long you've been practicing as an arts leader within your region?
I'll turn that to Anika. Can you provide a little bit more clarity on that?
Yeah, I believe that it says on the site, I'm just trying to get back to the site. By mid-career, we're looking at folks who have been in, we don't want to like lock it in, but what we're really trying to say is that we're not only looking for early career, we're not only looking for people who have been in career for a long time, or even for mid-career. We do take, you know, depending on the selections, we've had executive directors who had been, or directors who've been in the work, you know, for many, many years that were a part of the program. If you were able to watch one of the promo recordings, you would have seen different perspectives on the program from people with different backgrounds and age ranges, and experience in the program. So we don't want to limit too much. I don't want to box it in. I hope it doesn't feel like I'm evading your question. But we do want to say that the program is kind of designed for people who have been in their careers anywhere from 5 to 10 years, more or less, in the arts, as an arts administrator, as an artist, or an arts coordinator or a managing director or a grants manager, so, or a graphic artist or a board member. You might not use that word arts administrator, but we're looking for people who've had some time, largely in their field. At the same time, the area that we really do want to look at is folks who have not had access to a program like this. So that would probably be a larger criteria area if we were looking at 2 people and one had been in many programs, or even had many degrees, and another person had never had an opportunity to be involved in any type of network or cohort like this. Then you know, we're looking to really provide access to those who haven't had before. I hope that's a little bit helpful. But I will say that okay, cool. We have had the range of folks involved. So I was happy to see sort of this range come out in the word cloud, because we've had all of you are welcome here. But if you feel like you've just started in your field and you're just kind of
I think she might have froze.
I thought it was me at first, but yeah, that helps a lot. Yeah, thank y'all so
Okay.
much.
Great.
I have a question. My career in the arts has always been shared with another profession. You know, first with medicine, several decades, and then that interrupted by MBA studies, a stint as a caregiver, etc. So I don't have like long stretches of time in continuity with respect to the arts leadership administrative piece. So what would be the equivalent paradigm for someone like myself who comes in with 2 or 3 things going on at the same time?
I think what you mentioned actually has a very diverse and robust perspective, since you're coming from different areas. We're not necessarily looking for someone who's had consecutive years as well. You say you have experience and that it's just non-consecutive, but exactly, it's more of you're still an arts administrator, you're still a leader of color in your field. So I don't think that should be a deterrent for applying or being an eligible candidate.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry, somehow I got knocked out of the meeting. But I think I was covering what I was saying. And to Josh's point, in terms of if you've had, I don't want anyone here to feel deterred to apply. But what I would say is we are going to have a lot of applications. I think we already have over 100 that have been started in some way, shape, or form. And so the real thing is making sure that you do your best to portray yourself in a way that is going to stand out. When there's a lot of applications, that means that there's a lot of applications that reviewers have to read. And so you really want to make sure like little things like the grammar or the spelling are covered, those are a non-issue, and that you really like, I don't want to say selling yourself, but really answering the questions fully, whatever that takes on your side to prepare yourself. So there's less of a limitation around who's eligible. Everyone here identifies as a person of color. That's really an important component of the program. And really just taking the time to answer the questions fully. So it's just to answer Chase, your question, we cover the states and jurisdictions, so that's a total of 56, but yes, 1 per state and jurisdiction. So by jurisdiction, I mean US Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Guam, American Samoa, Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, and there's some others I may be missing.
Well,
And
since somebody already spoke up, I got a question. Will there be other opportunities after this one? Is this every other year or every year or something like that? Or every so many months?
This is a 3-year pilot program. This is our 2nd year. And so there will be another year for sure.
I'm just thinking about those states, like where I'm from, where we have urban areas and then you have rural areas, and just the different types of leadership that's needed in different areas. And just know what I'm up against. Whew. Okay. All right.
It is a concern. And one of the reasons that we've piloted this program nationally is so that we can prove the concept, and do case making to receive more funding for it. One of the reasons that we were able to launch this nationally is that all of us as regional organizations received unrestricted funds, Mackenzie Scott funds, and that allowed us to run programs like this at a national scale. And so we're going to be, evaluating this program and making that information available to funders and so on, so that we can continue. But we know that the need is really great. across the country. Are there any other questions?
I was gonna ask for clarity one more time. Sorry. There was it. I can't remember if I saw it before. That's my only reason I'm here. Is it all online or is any of it in person?
I'm gonna hand over to Josh to answer question.
It is all online. Yes. Mhm.
Okay, I'm seeing the time in the chat now. Okay, I appreciate it.
This is Kevina. My question actually is related to the one that was just asked. My question is, even though it is fully a virtual session for all of the cohorts, are there any plans for the future, say at the end of the pilot program, for the cohorts to convene in one full cohort session
In person?
in person?
Yeah, Karina, we'd love to do that, and to have the resources that's not a hardship for anyone. And so definitely that is a goal. That said, I will say, last year's cohort, they, some of you may be familiar with the Arts Administrators of Color network, and they are having a convening in Chicago in November. And so that kind of ties to a question I saw about funding, and thanks, I see Lena's addressed that, but here's a great example where there's a group that wanted to go to this conference and then also present at the conference. So they're putting together a proposal. This is completely separate. They decided after the fact that there was a call for proposals. So they want to talk about their experiences in this program. Before that, each RAO, each regional arts organization, they reached out, different fellows reached out to their regionals and said, hey, I want to participate in there. Do you have funds available? As West staff, we do have a professional development fund that's available for alumni. So anyone in our region as alumni will be eligible for that program after completing this program. There are also a lot of other opportunities to be on panels. One of the big things that we do as regional arts organizations is give out grant money. And so it's so important in terms of shifting the culture, shifting institutions to be able to have a say in panels. And so we are also inviting alumni to be a part of a variety of panel programs. So, and those for us are compensated activities. So there's a lot of opportunities that open up after the fact, though this process, this fellowship program doesn't have any stipend associated with it at this point. Thanks for those questions. Okay.
I'm Kay on this. I'm wondering, you said it's all online. Is it once a week, twice a month? And what's approximately the time commitment per week or per month for this program?
So these are going to be more monthly sessions. Sessions are going to start in January, and then they're going to be monthly for 4 hours. And so that's going to start at about 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., but that's in Mountain Time. And so those are going to be 4-hour commitments monthly, but then also we ask people to budget another 10 hours of work outside of the program dates listed below. And since we ask people to budget those extra hours outside of the program dates, we also encourage the fellows to receive pay from their employers for hours spent engaging in this fellowship. And that's also something that the US RAOs, all the RAOs are available to provide a letter of support as a resource when you're seeking out compensation from your employer.
Thanks for that. So I'm just showing on the screen that shows the time commitment for that question. And even before the monthly sessions start in January, there are 2 sessions in December. And all of these sessions are required. For continuity, we're on Zoom, so it's very difficult to build those connections if folks aren't present. We tried to pick a day of the week for the monthly sessions are typically on Mondays starting in January. We're thinking, though things have changed, if you're in the theater space, that's usually a dark day. So it's very difficult for us to find the exact perfect time. But all of our sessions, as Josh has said, are 3 to 7 Mountain, because we have folks like in American Samoa and Guam who are in different time zones. So for example, I'm here in the East and it's almost 7 o'clock. Miss Patty, are you still there?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
What time is it there, Miss Patty?
It's 8:57 a.m.
It's 8:57 a.m. in the Northern Mariana Islands. And American Samoa, I think no, Guam. I saw somebody from Guam. Oh, it's the same time, I think. So, so we have to accommodate a variety of time zones. And so that's why that 3 to 7. And we really need that commitment starting in December. So the first portion is that orientation. That will be a meet and greet starting Thursday, December 7th. As we've said, we're West staff here, but there are representatives from every U.S. regional arts organization that fellows will meet at that time and start to build relationships with them, have check-ins with them. I know there's some folks here tonight from some of those regional arts organizations other than West staff. And then on Thursday, December 14th, a week after, we'll have a deeper dive connection session where the fellows will get a chance to meet one another. We'll use breakout rooms and different things and have different prompts to build relationships. That's some feedback that we got from our surveys last year, is just making sure that there's that time to connect. That's super important for the fellows. And then I also want to mention the last date of the program will be July. We're confirming if it's July 17th or 18th. That will be finalized very soon. And that will actually be a shorter time frame for regional conversations. So after you have experienced the program, you've had your monthly sessions, it's time to go back to your regional arts organizations virtually, come back to them with recommendations, thoughts you have about your region. It's an opportunity, as we say, to speak truth to power. It's a little challenging, but very impactful. I would say that our cohort this past year has really been able to connect with executive directors of regional arts organizations, other program staff, and some of the opportunities that we spoke about before in terms of paneling and different things, but also bringing ideas to the table about the needs in the region. So this program is not just fellowship and you come and you share and you learn different things, but we really want to culminate in help us to move our institutions. Every institution in this country is built on white supremacy. And so in order to undermine that, we need to be effective about saying, this is not okay, this is what you should do differently, and I'm showing up to support that, right? So that's the kind of relationship that we want to start to build with the regional arts organizations and the respective fellows.
So this is Kevina. I love the information that you just provided, and it brought to mind some questions. And the main one at the front of my mind is how, and I guess it's a two-part question, how involved will the cohorts be with the regional organizations, and will there be a representative from those organizations within the cohort meetings?
So the representatives will be at thanks for that question, Kavina. So at the Thursday, December 7th session and the Thursday, December 14th session, those regional representatives will be there. And you'll be, so for example, if you're in, like I'm in DC. So DC is the Mid-Atlantic region. Even though I work for West Staff, I work remotely, not to cause confusion, but the Mid-Atlantic Arts region is DC, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, US Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, a whole bunch of other. And so that representative will be building relationship with you all, with the fellows at those 2 December meetings, really introduce themselves, the work that they do, ask, entertain questions, and be talking to the fellows about what does a regular check-in look like for us? Do we want to do an email check-in? Do we want to have a 30-minute call once a month? That kind of thing, just to build in some relationship building, right? And so over the course of the program, the idea is that regional cohort, the folks from that region, would continue to build relationship, ask questions of that regional to understand more and more what they do, where the needs are, and so on. And then that's why when we come back at the end in July, it's around continuing that relationship, thinking with that regional arts organization, what does it look like for our relationship to continue? What kind of impact can we have within your institution or locally within our state arts agencies? And we could talk more about that at a different time. But those folks are here. In fact, as Joy Young shared, the US Regional Arts Organization, our collective website. From there, you can click and go to your individual regional arts organization website and connect with folks. You should feel free to do that. And one reason why you should feel free to do that, as I step on my soapbox, we get a lot of money from the federal government, and that's tax dollars. And so we have a responsibility to you all as taxpayers to make sure that we're responsive, accountable, and so on. So it's very important that you all, particularly a lot of folks said we never heard of what a regional is. That's what we've experienced in the past as well. Folks don't know what regional arts organizations are sometimes. And so we need to make sure that we're holding folks accountable and supporting and partnering with regional arts organizations. So that's a big part of this program and somewhat of a newer part of this program. At the same time, this network is really important as well. And I would encourage you all, you are a network right now of folks who decided to come to this meeting. You could absolutely keep in touch with each other. I assume that we don't all know each other, right? And so we need to be doing that. We need to be connecting. Okay, off of my soapbox, because we got 2 minutes left. Was there anything else finally in the chat? Josh, did you have anything else before I just ask folks to make sure they complete the survey?
Yes, so I actually went into the GoSmart application and I made sure the character counts are high enough so that those small punctuation marks won't be affecting you all anymore. And if it was and you want to go back in your application, again, just email us at grants@weststaff.org, because we just have to manually go in and open your application back up. So again, those word counts are going to be higher. And if you want to go back in your application, email us and we can do that for you.
Thank you.
This Kaonis, I have a final question. How many will be accepted into the program this year? Can you hear me?
That's a great question. I'm trying to do math. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, 25, 50, when we online each month, approximately how many other individuals will be in those online meetings and members? I'm thinking, well, I'm not thinking, I'm wanting you to give me
So it's one fellow per state and jurisdiction. And so there's 56 states and jurisdictions.
Right.
So we had 51 people, 51 fellows last time, and we endeavor to have 56 this time. And so now you can imagine why that regional connection is really important. That's a lot of people in the room at the same time, plus the faculty. And there'll be opportunities where we'll use the breakout rooms and you can get to know each other better and so on. So 56 is the magic number. All right. And thanks, Josh, for fixing up that character count. So if there's nothing else, I'm seeing, I can share it too, because I don't want to not share. I thank you for those who have responded to the survey. Everyone is not giving a 10 to say that in terms of the responses. So I feel that I can successfully complete the LoCF application. If there's anyone that there's anything that we can do to help you feel more confident in that, we're happy to. Please reach out to us. Josh put the email address in the chat. You're going to receive the slide deck that also has the information about how to reach us. You're going to receive a recording this session as well, so you can refer back to it. I feel well informed about the program. Again, please continue to reach out if you have questions. Doesn't have to be the last time we speak to each other. In terms of also understanding the application process. Where to get your additional questions answered is right here, grants@weststaff.org. Please reach out to us. You have, just under a month. So make sure that you reach out if you have any question. We don't want anyone to feel like they cannot successfully complete the application. Okay. And I see folks are sharing their information in the chat. Please grab that, save the chat. We'll also make the chat available to the folks in this space. But thank you all for being here tonight at 3 minutes over.